Richards trying to scoot in there alone. It pinballs to the crease.
Let's get it.
Oh my God! Here we go.
You're listening to the Street Bullies podcast with your hosts, Derek.
How you gonna get it, Bobby?
John. Matt Casey.
Unnecessary, but totally necessary.
And Hoagie.
What's not to love?
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Street Bullies. My name is Derek.
And I am John. What's going on, everybody?
And as always, we are joined by the Mats. Hoagie, you going to take some time and get out from behind your phone there?
What's going on, everybody?
Just 1 hour a week. That's all we ask.
Doing the socials. Screw you guys.
I did it before we even started live. So come on, dude. Get with it. Casey, what's up, man?
Doing great. 2-0.
I didn't ask how we were doing. I just said, what's up?
Feeling good. Like I should.
Say, are we not all feeling pretty good after these last two games? I mean,
Hey there, Stanley.
right? I know John was a little under the weather. So was Casey. But decent way to come out of, COVID. So I feel like it's going to be a relatively positive episode, right?
Relatively.
I would hope so.
Relatively.
I don't know how many of these we're going to have, so let's keep it positive, for God's sakes.
Yep.
Right? Yeah. While things are going well, we might as well. In case you guys have been living under a rock, Flyers are 2-0, one of the best teams in the NHL right now. First place in the NHL, tied fourth, which is a fantastic development coming straight out of the training camp. But 5-2 win against Jersey on Thursday night, 3-2 win against Vancouver, come from behind 3-2 win against Vancouver, which is something we're not used to be honest.
Coming from behind.
Yeah, I mean, Flyers. All right then.
All right. Here we go.
And here I was on a roll there.
That's
Oh, you dick.
gross.
Hogan's like, speak for yourself.
All right. General thoughts on the two wins over the past couple of days here, John.
I mean, first thing is, and it's so crazy because before this season started, when you're looking at this roster, you're like, oh my God, who in the hell are we even going to cheer for? This team on paper stinks. The fact that, I don't know who's supposed to be on what line. There's no givens on this roster. There's no Giroux. There's no Voracek, right? Even Couturier to a certain extent. It's like a breath of fresh air. I'm watching a brand new team, start from the beginning. I have zero expectations. I'm not pissed off about anybody being on any line or with any pairing. I'm just shuffle it all up. To me, that's been really exciting to watch. But also just one of the things that I felt really irritated me last year was anytime there was a moment that was just tough for the team to deal with, we just imploded. And this year it's been, 2 games, but this year it's been the exact opposite. It's they're resilient. The heart is just, it's so obvious to see, right? The toughness is so obvious to see. And for me, if you could ask, if I could ask for one thing in a season where, hopes aren't that high, that is it, right? This is a team that is clearly out there really trying to just do their best.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is too, think about in years past or seasons past where, all the times that we've ragged on oh, well, they're doing their best.
Right.
Their best isn't that bad right now.
Right.
I'm not going to sit here and tell you oh, we have playoff aspirations now. Still don't think that. But enjoy the highs while they're here.
Well, and that's the thing. And then move away from me. But I think for me this season, I'm not once going to say, oh, it's a small sample size. For me, it is, I'm taking this a week at a time, in show preparation stages. I'm not thinking about, oh, well, this team isn't going to be that good in the long run. I don't care. I'm taking it in little small sample sizes. And so far, I've got nothing to be but happy.
I think a lot of people should take that approach. I think there's more than a couple people you can
Only way
recommend
you're going to
that to.
enjoy this season.
Exactly. Find a way to enjoy it. And that right there, what you just pointed out, John, is the best way to enjoy this. Take it a week at a time. Enjoy the highs, brush off the lows, and understand that they're going to happen, and just live in it, man. Like 2 wins, great.
I would even say a game at a time, not even a week at a time. It's like, don't even look ahead. Like, oh, that's a tough stretch. It's like, who do we have coming up Thursday? All right, like, just look at it that way.
I don't even care that we have Florida and Tampa coming up. I don't. I'm just like, whatever. It's a game.
I got really upset when I looked at that. I know we'll get into that later. But I was like, fuck.
No, I mean, general observations here. What are you thinking, Hoagie?
I mean, John was talking about Hart. Let's talk about Carter Hart, the goaltender. He's looking solid. I like it. What, you don't like the play on words?
Oh, here we go. So
this is what happens when you're matching sequences on your cell phone while we're talking about the plan. General observations. We were like, let's make an agreement. We're not going to talk about any players.
Okay, all right. My headphones also cut out during half of that too, so I don't know what happened there. But I'm on Carter Hart looks good, but also Hart throughout the entire team, sticking up for each other, going to the paint after whistles. I love to see that.
Mm-hmm.
It's exciting hockey to watch for once.
Okay.
Donkey brain.
All right. Before you spoil the next segment here, we'll get to Matt Casey. What are your general observations here?
Yeah, so I'm going to go down the roster one by one and just give my thoughts. No, Hart was certainly the term that I came up, but it's also selflessness and buy-in is kind of like how I'm feeling. And to take John's quote there, it's a breath of fresh air. When expectations are so low, to see this team go and play in a structure that worked and give an effort, a full 60-minute effort. Was it perfect? Of course not. Neither game was. But you know what? These guys work their ass off. And I think that's a lot more than it was probably last December was the last time we saw a team work this hard in the Flyers uniform. And so I think it's, it's almost been a year.
I mean, but last December might be generous.
I think we've already matched our power play goal total for the year last year at this rate, as well as our shorthanded goal total. So positives, there's absolutely positives.
And the fact we're doing it, even with on paper, our lineup wasn't great, and that lineup has already been decimated, missing a handful of really, quote unquote top players for the Flyers, and we're still doing well. So look, 2-0 is hell of a lot better than being 0-2. Next week maybe a different tune, but hey, let's ride the wave while it's high here.
I know we talked about the foundation for this team likely being the fourth line and talking about, your Delorier, your Lashinskis. I know we talked about McEwen, but now he's down in the AHL. But what I think we're starting to see is that line, there's a bit of fluctuation there, obviously given injuries and things like that. But we're starting to see the defense kind of solidify because, again, to Hoagie's point, Hart's been playing really well. But I think you can contribute some of that to the fact that we have, at least for right now, it looks like Provorov and D'Angelo are playing really well together. And that pairing is taking off. Given Ristolainen's injury, I think Braun and Sanheim have been serviceable, to say the least. And then, that third pairing, Sealer and Zamula, if Adert ever jumps in there, sure, great. But the defense looks better. And that was a huge bad mark on last year.
I think you have to also extend it to team defense too. I don't disagree with anything that you said, but
Certainly.
You look at the defensive plays that are happening across the board, and I think it goes back to buy-in from a general observation standpoint. I think it's buy-in. And what did we have against Jersey? It was a ridiculous amount of block shots. It was
Provorov had himself. Yep. Provorov was a
unreal.
machine.
On the wall. No.
The funny thing is, too, the Flyers took 25 shots that game to New Jersey's 37. So, to me, and again, I know John said he doesn't want to allude to, small sample size, but it seems like they're getting high quality shots and picking their shots as opposed to just throwing pucks on net, which it can work both ways. Don't get me wrong.
Yesterday too, I think yesterday's game they had more shots than Vancouver.
31. They had one more shot than Vancouver, but regardless,
right. Well, in the first period it was
for quality. They're quality
shots.
Yeah, they're not 70-foot bombs and be like, all right.
They don't look lost out there. They don't look like, oh, let me just throw it on net. Let's see what happens. They're like, okay, if I'm running this play, I can find a slot here, get a good shot on the goalie where it's one-on-one or get a screen or something, They're looking for those as opposed to, the bullshit dump and chase that they would play all year last year. The slingshot is still around. Why? First and foremost, but don't want to be too negative tonight. I'm going to enjoy this. But
hold on. When in both games, when we went down 2-0 yesterday and then 1-0 in the first game, were all of you like, oh shit,
here we go?
Yeah, because it's right off the bat. Right. We go down 1-0 against Jersey. It's like, oh crap. It's like, all right, whatever. 2-0 against Vancouver, and I'm like, Jesus.
And they had like 4 shots and 2 goals at that point.
4 shots,
right?
Yep.
People are like, yank
12
hard
shots or whatever.
And that's one thing too. I mean, it kind of just goes right into this. When you mentioned Carter Hart before, Hoagie, he's been phenomenal. But the one thing that has kind of concerned me is the shots that he's letting in are, to me, seem like they should be stoppable. I mean, they're from distance, right? Like, and okay, if he's, it's like he's the kind of goalie that can stop the hard ones, but the easy ones for him, they go in. But it's like, am I being too hard on him for going like, okay, you've played great, but you also should be stopping these?
No, sorry, go ahead, Ogie.
No, I get what you're saying, but I mean, he had no preseason games or anything leading up to that. I mean, there's going to be some rust, which I get, but like you said, the ones that he let in are easy goals to get and to stop. I don't know. He is weird that way, where like the easy ones he lets in, and then the hard ones he just stands on his head and makes this unbelievable save.
Don't call Carter weird. Come on.
All goaltenders are weird. Come on now.
What were you gonna say, Casey?
No, I'm with you, and I'll give him the first goal last night. I'll give him a pass because apparently that deflected off the Jim pad. But like the second goal last night, like that's stoppable. The first goal against Jersey, I was like, oh God.
Yep.
Severson goal looked good. Like I'll give Severson credit there.
Right.
That was a tough angle shot.
But I think it's, if you continue to see a trend of like one of the first 5 shots of the game going in, like I think that's a little bit concerning. But the fact that he, the first period wasn't great for him last night, but in the second period he made some outrageous saves.
Right.
And so it's a little tough to like the whole body of work I'm happy with, but John, like you're absolutely right. Like I felt the same way. I'm like, damn, dude, we could have shut Vancouver out there.
Right. Yeah. And when you're looking at a team that's likely not going to score a ton of goals each game, like you need to be dialed in right from the start.
Yeah. Yep. I'll be completely honest. I'm not too concerned about those types of goals. Like they're going to happen and you just kind of have to accept it. But what's more reassuring to me is the fact that you guys again alluded to, he's shutting it down later in the game. Like I can live with a soft goal here or there if that's the end result. If by the third period he's stopping 95% of the shots that he's facing throughout the second and third, like I'm okay with that.
I don't know how you're okay with that though.
Yeah,
how are you okay with that?
I don't agree with you.
Listen, I'm okay for right now.
Like stop the puck.
Listen, I'm okay for right now. The first couple games,
right.
When we're getting to November, December, January, those shots need to be stopped. Like
when you're getting to week 2, those shots.
Yeah,
but if it's not something where he's letting like 3-4 of these goals in a game, like that's obviously concerning. Like that's borderline. Like you're riding the bench until you can figure it out. If it's one game, if it's
find a backup,
if it's every other game, if it's one goal, I'm just saying right now, again, given Hoagie's point that it's been, a little bit since Hart's actually seen some action, like I can live with it. I can stomach it because he's learning his way. There's a new there's a new defense in front of him to an extent as well. Like he's getting back into the swing of things, and I'll forgive him for it. Now, 30 games, 40 games into this season, I don't want to see it nearly as frequently as we are right now.
I also think it's not a new thing with him.
Absolutely not.
I've found that last year, the year before, and again, the team in front of him was absolute crap, but like there were shots where it was like, dude, you're a professional goalie in the National Hockey League. You've got to be able to stop these shots with regularity, and I just think from like a whole team standpoint, like Derek, I get it where it's like, if he's going to let in crappy shots every once in a while, as long as you can make the key saves. But again, with a team that's not going to score a lot, right? They can't afford to let in 1-2 stoppable shots.
Sure.
What
they've showed us, at least to now, though, like
for sure,
they're scoring 5 goals against Jersey, 3 against Vancouver, like averaging out to 4 goals a game. Like they're not going to be able to keep that up. Like, I'll be completely honest. We know that. There you go.
The 1, got it. Yeah.
8. What's 8 divided by 2 again? Like they won't be able to keep that up. But like while they are, and they can put up 5 goals a game against a team like Jersey, whatever it might be, I'm okay with 1 goal. Like I'm okay with a shitty little trickler through the 5-hole, whatever, something like that. I can stomach because I know that goal support's there. We'll see moving forward if they can maintain this, if they can keep up this pace. It likely won't be 4 goals a game. We're going to get a couple where we get shut out. We're going to get a couple where we get 1 or 2. Might be enough, might not be enough. I don't know. But given the fact that Hart can lock it down is encouraging.
If our offense is putting up 2 goals a game, we need to at least be in a position to win there. That's sort of where that's the reality of it. If we go 3 or above, like that has to happen. But like, if this offense is getting 2 goals a game at least, like we need to be at least in an overtime type scenario to pull a point.
Right.
And so like that's where I see like the level of the level of demarcation there for Hart. It's like, dude, it's okay for you to make the miraculous saves, but you also got to make the routine ones. And I don't think it's going to be a habit. And I think you're right. It's shaking off rust. It's getting game speed, it's getting people in front of you, and all that sort of stuff. But I not to transition it too quick, but I have been impressed with the level of goal scoring we have had in the last 2 games, and from the guys that we want it from.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And in all situations, power play goals, shorthanded goals, even strength goals, like we're seeing it all, which is good. The power play, they're 2 for 8 on the power play so far, which better than last year so far.
25%.
Yeah. Right. Yep. 1 every 4. I'll take it.
And then that shorthanded goal, the Lawton shorthanded goal yesterday, was one of the smartest plays I think I have seen in a Flyers uniform from Konechny. And his GED geometry teacher must be so proud of him,
right?
Because he's like, quick calculation. If I put it this way, no, but if I back it off on this angle, let's go
crazy.
And it was beautiful. And Lawton, like, good for him, man. You switched from the 5-hole backhand deke into
finally
gotta surprise him every once in a while.
Yep.
Right.
And so I was like, wow, that was a big time friggin' play. And
you got to remember, it happens like this too.
Right.
To think to do that at that time, in that short amount of time.
He's like the guy from A Beautiful Mind. It went.
He definitely looked for the stretch pass, the line to line, and then he just knew he didn't have that available.
I think he said that in his interview too. He's like, "Yeah, I saw it. And that wasn't going to work."
Yeah, because you could see the Canuck defenseman kind of like pinch in and just close the gap, and he's like, "Oh, yep, can't do that."
That's so encouraging though, because in seasons past, likely he's not making that play, and likely he's not giving you that explanation in a press conference afterwards.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like, kind of expanding on that, how impressed have you guys been with Konechny to this point? I know my answer to that, but
is he 4 points so far because he had 2 goals.
3
in the first
3
game.
goals total.
He has 3 goals.
3 goals and then an assist, right?
And is it over dramatic to say that he's been impactful on every shift?
No,
not at all.
I think that line has been pretty freaking awesome.
But he just looks like he is just bought in.
Different player.
He's on a 162-point pace. It's immaculate.
Shut the hell up.
There are other websites and podcasts.
Here comes the
I
hard
actually
talk.
believe that. Like, I mean, where's the lie?
Here comes the Hart Memorial talk.
Carry the one.
I would say that I think it's a mental thing as well. Yes, it's buying into the systems, but like in the last 2 years, you've seen it's like, oh, well, Giroux will get us out of this.
Right.
Voracek will get us out of it. Like there were guys to rely on, and you saw it a little bit at the end of last year, but now you're really seeing it this year, and I hope it continues. That like there's no longer a guy. Even the guy that we have, or guys we have, Coots and Cam, arguably our two best forwards on paper, they're not there.
No,
and so you're the guy, TK. Freaking take it, ride with it.
And what I'm getting from him too is it's like every time he takes the ice, he's like, "This is my moment. Like this is my time to make this like my team," and I'm all about it.
I'm here for it.
Yeah. I think like you compare it to a kid who just needs a little bit of structure. Like that problem child in a classroom that doesn't want to obey anybody. And then all of a sudden you got a teacher who doesn't take any shit, and boom, look what you've got. Results.
Tortorella sits down and smokes a cigarette with him. Listen here, kid. Come on, let's have a cigarette together. Really?
But I'm 12.
It's like the scene in Vacation, the original one. It's like I was sharing a beer with my son here, and he just guzzled it. That's what TK's doing. He's guzzling the beer. He's drinking it in.
Rise to the opportunity. I think I think the fact that you now have a coach, whereas AV to us, on the outside here seemed very lackadaisical and just like, don't care. Now Tortorella's like, I'm whipping you punk asses into shape and I'm getting results out of you. And TK's answering the bell here. And I mean, that's what we all wanted. We talked about it at length over the offseason about guys who we think are going to thrive and not. And TK was the one that it's like, if he thrives, he's going to thrive. Like I
want to go back to the tape on what we decided on Thrive.
Do we remember which episode that was?
I can't remember. We'll have to look back though. I know it was pretty split though.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Not all of us were like, yeah, he's gonna have 4 points in the first.
I know we all wanted him to, obviously, and I think his attitude is conducive to doing that. It's just I know we all had our doubts based off of years past and all that good stuff.
Well, I think too, like, and listening to Tortorella, after the game and how he's talking about how the team did, like, he's clearly setting like manageable goals. When I think about what I do for a living and being a teacher, right? If I have a kid who can't multiply to save their life, right? I'm not going to walk in and be like, they're going to do quadruple digit multiplication by Friday, right? You go, all right, we need to see if they can do their 2 times tables by Thursday or whatever. But you set kind of like little manageable chunks for them to achieve. And when you hear Tortorella talk, it's like, okay, we're not there yet, but we've been able to do this. And I think that a player like Konechny has been really receptive to that. It's like, okay, I don't have to go out and make this team. Receptacle sounds great too. Receptive, that's good too.
We wanted John to learn the English language. We're not.
I don't want to hear you bust Hoagie's balls about the things he says at all this episode.
He always will.
Yeah, you're right. That ain't gonna change.
COVID brain. Blame it on COVID brain.
I thought you said Hoagie brain for a second.
That too. It's pretty much the same thing. But like he doesn't have to go out and be like, I need to make this team a Stanley Cup contender. It's like I've just got to go out and execute this and try to get us here. And I think that for players like Konechny, that's been helpful.
Right.
I think the exact line that Torts had, he's like, our goal is to be hard to play against, or like I want the team to say, man, those guys like gave it their all, gave it the effort. And like, that's like the start. That's a realistic goal right now. And,
exactly.
I think we need to measure this year in terms of points percentage increase versus like making playoffs and not. And I think that is sort of what he's setting it up for.
Mm-hmm. We want to see strides. We want to see this team righting the ship, making sure that they're pointed in the right direction. And Tortorella said it himself. We want to see a team with an identity. And we're slowly starting to see some form of an identity starting to develop. And I think, I mean, how long have we been asking for this?
Too long.
2019.
That's too long
Right.
for us. That's absolutely too long.
I would say, I was thinking about this today. I was like, when did in my mind, when did it go off the rails? And it was somewhere between the Montreal series and the Islanders series in the bubble.
Yep.
Something happened, and at that point, the identity of this team was lost.
Lindblom came back.
Oh, Jesus.
Don't
Sorry.
do
Too
that.
soon?
Oh,
But
Hoagie.
you know,
Anyway.
I don't. But sorry, Derek.
No, you're fine. No, I think, you know, we've talked about some positives, which is great. I feel like there's more of them right now than negatives, but there are still negatives. And in terms of
hold on. Before we go to
Okay.
negatives,
Yeah,
Okay.
hold on. There are so many other players I want to talk about.
I know who he's going to bring up.
Well, no, because I think somebody else will bring him up. I want to bring up how much I've enjoyed watching Big Stick Nick Delorier play.
Yes,
I like it.
I think he's great.
It's awesome.
He's still not worth the contract, but I like his play.
that
I'm not
face
paying
that he
him.
made,
I'm not paying him.
Dude, he looks like one of the White Walkers from.
right?
But this is what this team needed. I don't care how much
Big
money
Nick
he's making.
energy.
Loving it. I
Give
love
this guy
it.
a statue.
Right. I mean, I think he should be a professional wrestler, but regardless,
Big Stick Nick.
Big Stick Nick.
I mean, there's, you know, he had the fight yesterday, which was great. And I think if it wasn't as close of a game, I think we would have saw him go ham on Luke Shen at some point,
Right.
for that hit that he did on Farabee, which I was like, oh God, here we go. Like,
Right.
you know, Farabee's about to be a quadriplegic. But I think even in the first game, he was throwing
He's a
lumber
presence.
around.
They
And-
know he's there.
Yeah, and
Who
he's
was he
there,
staring at? Like that face that he made. Who was he making that face at?
a fan.
I mean, it could be either way.
I don't remember.
But when you look at that, are you
6-year-old
not
at his
thinking
first
like,
game?
Jesus Christ?
You
Like
think
this
this is
guy's a
fun?
psycho.
You think this is fun? Eating your popcorn? This is my life.
It's Nick Letty Psycho.
I heard this contract.
Watch out for this big stick.
Oh God, here we go.
But you know, I'd like Delorier. One guy who I think I didn't notice him as much yesterday, but in the game against Jersey, I was like, damn, he's being physical, and everybody's gonna crap on him. Is Sealer? Sealer actually had a very physical, like nasty game against Jersey, and you know what? He's not going to be, you know, hopefully he's not a full 82 gamer, but if he's doing that stuff and he's not a liability, like I'm here for it. And I think that's one of the overarching trends that we didn't touch on is just the pure physical nature of like this team where, yeah, they're not all goons, but damn, everybody's taking the body, and that's good. The board battles are good.
Well, and what
By
you're seeing is
game-
everybody is doing what they need to like be on the ice.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, like everybody's right now is going, this is why I'm here. You know, they're not necessarily giving us a reason to be like, what the hell is Nick Sealer doing right now? You know?
Yep. By game 2 last year, Sealer had endeared himself to all of us eye testers by taking on Alexiak in that Seattle game. Like we kind of see that now with Delorier and how he took on, was it Burrows or somebody like that? Whoever that kid was, he's like buck 90 soaking
Burrows
wet.
has been retired for like
Well, it's another Burrows.
different Burrows.
Did you watch the game?
I
at all?
did.
You did.
I did.
Oh,
I watched the whole game.
I
The
thought you'd have
4
known
o'clock
that.
start was a real treat on like the most beautiful fall Saturday of all time with like tons of football going on. I was like, oh, come on.
Yeah, but no, I mean, great point. You're seeing these guys fall into their roles and know why they're on the team, what they're there to do. And it's encouraging because last year it's like we had guys that were just like, what am I supposed to do? We don't have a guy that can score. We don't have a guy that can do this, that. Didn't matter. Like we didn't have that, the roles on the team. So now we do. It's kind of cool to see.
What's I mean, Hoagie, I'm interested on your thoughts on this because it's your boy. But you know, we talked about TK, but I think that line in general with TK, Hayes, and Lawton has been stellar. I mean,
He's like, yep.
I mean, I said it last week when we were talking about the line combos. That line's going to go out there and do what they have to do. You have Hayes ragging the puck every once in a while, TK shooting, scoring the puck, and you have Lawton just out there destroying anybody that's in his way and making room for those two. I'm impressed. That line is playing like a top line. Lawton has just been – he's been a leader of this team. I want to say it. And
he's the only one wearing a letter.
He's the only one wearing a letter, and he's acting like he is that guy. I'd love to see it.
The acting, he is that guy.
Yeah,
I'll back you up on that one.
Like I've been saying it for how many months, and it just feels good to see it validated on the ice and in the locker room. Like Lawton is the second longest tenured player.
Only people team. Listened.
Yeah, John doesn't. We know that for a fact.
This is like Hoagie's acceptance speech right now. He's just like, I told all of you, you all can bow down, kiss my ass.
And nobody heard it.
Somebody's like, oh, I created
the tree falls down in the woods and nobody's there.
Right. Somebody goes, I created the Scott Lawton for Captain Fan Club. I'm like, bull crap, you did. I freaking started that when Giroux left. Come on now.
Hoagie, can you commit to getting a jersey now? A Lawton jersey with the captain on it. Like, are you that confident?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we'll see about it.
We're going to start making the t-shirts.
Right?
It's going to say
iron on it.
Scott
Got to be the like $300 legit.
If he is named
captain
from
China.
That's not what Casey said.
Oh, okay. I'll put it on there regardless. I don't care.
All right.
We're going to get the shirts made now. Shirts are going to have Scott Lawton's name just spelled out on there, and the C is going to be large right there where the captaincy goes.
Are you doing jerseys, Derek? Or are we doing actual jerseys?
I'm saying I'm going to make the shirts. Like, I'm going to make them.
Hoagie, you got to drop the 300 for it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right
I already have the jersey. I can just
No, you got to get a new one. That's the stipulation.
Wait, do you have a Lawton jersey?
If you get the C and have it stitched on by next week,
you're just going to get hockey tape and do like square letters.
Like what they do when Carson Wentz got traded, and now it says Brown on the back.
Absolutely.
I'll accept it if you put the C on. Like if you get the C stitched on by next episode and you wear it on, I'll accept that.
Get in there. Get your little sewing kit out.
It's not hard. I can sew.
You don't want me to sew.
Dude, just a couple boom, boom, boom.
That's the one merit badge in Scouts that I did not get.
I'm trying so hard not to say.
You can tell us about your childhood trauma in Scouts on a different show, buddy. We don't need to go there now.
Can we talk about Morgan Frost real quick?
I was just about to segue into that.
I was waiting for somebody to say it. Bill Meltzer's probably having a party right now over this kid.
He's the Scoutmaster right now.
Yeah. He looks good. I'm excited for Frost. As someone right before he scored the first goal was like, all right, I'm done with Frost. And I know the play that they were done with him on because someone threw a pass to him and he was wide open for a breakaway. But what do you want? What do you expect? The puck was up in the air. You can't freaking catch it and go with it. Like, he looks good. He's doing all the right things. He looks like he's bought in.
Right.
I listened to him on Sirius XM on Friday, and he, made a comment like, "Oh, I haven't really had much time to talk with Tortorella," and the host said, "That's actually a good thing. If you're not talking to Tortorella, you're doing the right things."
Yeah,
and it gives you right there.
It gives you less time to think about it in your head. Like you've set the expectations in your mind as a player. Like this is what he's going to expect, whether he tells you or not doesn't matter. You know he's a hard ass. You know that he's going to expect the world from you guys. You go out and do your best, and you do it to the best of your abilities. And if he can keep that mindset, I think we're going to have a really successful season from him this year.
What's that line? Is it Frost, JVR, and Allison, or did I just combine the lines there?
I think
love Wade Allison.
I do too. I think
good.
Allison is. I'm pissed he cut his hair. I'm like, God,
I don't even care.
That was you. That was your ticket, man.
If it means he's on the ice and he's healthy, I don't care what it. He could shave it all off. I don't care.
He just saw what Tippett was doing and wanted to make sure nobody mistook the two.
I think with Frost, I'm encouraged. I would say in game one he was great. I don't know if I noticed him as much last night. If I'm totally honest with you. So I think think what I'm looking for this week is consistency. Like, I'm not ready to be like, yeah, Frost is in. Sign him to a 8-year, $6 million deal.
We'll touch on that next.
I'm not ready to take a bite out of that apple, but I'm encouraged, but I need to see the consistency when it's like, okay, the rush, the adrenaline of opening night is over. You're now on the road in freaking Florida and the deep south of Nashville. Like, how do you get up for games now?
You saw it though when he first came up and he had his first taste of NHL experience, because he started off with a bang, was doing really well, and then just fizzled out. Yeah, it was the Florida game, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it was the Florida game where he scored.
Yeah, he was in that hybrid position where he was a quote unquote center, but not taking faceoffs, playing on the power play, like did really well, and he beat one of the best goalies in the game, on a hellish shot.
Right.
I think if he can show, like you said, Casey, just the consistency, like not saying a point per game, but like throw in a point every 2-3 games, maybe a multi-goal game here or there, put up 2 assists here or there. Cool. Great. Yep. Not going to expect the world of this kid, but definitely think that there needs to be some, not lofty expectations, but some expectations there.
Yep.
Yeah. He can't take the foot off the gas.
Your opinion on Morgan Frost?
I'm done with Morgan Frost. We haven't talked about Tony. No. Tony DeAngelo.
Oh, I talked about Tony DeAngelo yesterday on the Twitter account.
Tony DeAngelo.
People were not happy.
Yeah, that was not me.
Wait, what did you do?
I ruffled some big feathers on Twitter yesterday. So he scored the goal, and the night before, when they were, I think it was the game. It was
the
Devils game. We were in the High and Wide group chat, and I was like, if Tony DeAngelo scores, I'm tweeting out True Patriot Tony DeAngelo scores his first Flyers goal. Guess who scored on Saturday?
And guess who tweeted it?
Guess who had 2 goons in our mentions? Very upset at a joke. And this one guy's like, jokes are supposed to be funny. And I'm like, to some they are. I guess it wasn't to you. Try again next game. So for anybody out there who's listening that didn't like that, I'm not going to say I'm sorry, but understand it was a joke. If it wasn't funny, we'll have something for you next game. I don't know what else to tell you.
It won't be funny. It's still not going to be funny.
It'll probably be hoagie. So
you're more of the dad joke crowd if you don't like that one.
Yeah.
Probably.
But could he be playing any better for what he is at this point?
Everybody could be playing better.
Well, okay. Well, you know what I mean. Could we be asking?
Could he be playing any better?
Could be asking more.
I want to combine the two. I want to do talk about Provorov and Tony together.
Absolutely.
Because I think both of them have had stellar start to the season, and Provorov much more so on the defensive side, but like he's contributed offensively as well. He has a couple assists in the book now, but like right now we're not talking about, oh God, they look so disjointed, which is a great sign. The fact that we're not, we're not saying, oh, they stunk like Tortorella said the last time they played, but Tony gets a goal. I think he had an assist against the Devils as well.
Correct. Yeah.
So Provorov had an assist at the very least, but he also, I think he had some unbelievable blocks. He literally saved the game on. Is that last night or against the Devils? I can't even remember.
The kick save was on Thursday.
Devils game.
Yeah. That was unbelievable. And the two of them, it's gonna get better and better, and they're playing off of each other. And
they look
again. Small sample size, I know, but it sounds it's looking good for right now.
Mm-hmm. It's really encouraging because we've said it for so long that if Provorov has the right partner, he can be a good defenseman, and we're seeing that now. And I'm just gonna throw this out here, and I'm not gonna dive too deep into it. Let's say we end the season 82 games, and this is the pairing. This is who we need. How does Sanheim's extension factor into this, and how are we going to re-sign Tony DeAngelo?
Cap's going up.
It doesn't matter. How much money do you think Tony DeAngelo is going to want if he has a season similar to maybe what he did last year? Right. Maybe a little temper it a little bit based off of the team, but We just shelled out all that money to Travis Sanheim on the blue line, nonetheless. How are we going to afford to keep a guy like Tony DeAngelo?
What's Provorov making? Is he
6.7? 6.75?
6.7? So I think Tony is going to be looking at 6.5.
6.5.
Because he's a first line, so he's got to be above Sanheim.
But he's an offensive guy, and and those guys they come at a premium. I think he's looking more in the 7.5, if not more range. If he has that season that he did last year and replicates that success and proves that he's kind of the catalyst to getting Provorov to be who we want him to be, his agent's going to capitalize on that. You want Provorov to be better? DeAngelo's the answer.
I mean, I also think we're getting way ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, this is a discussion for far down the line, but I just want to throw that out there.
Just remember, you have JVR coming off the book, so that helps a little bit.
Sanheim's extension kicks in, and it doesn't negate it. You've still got an extra $4 million there, sure.
Can we segue into the extension?
None of this matters until Ellis officially retires.
True.
Ellis needs to be.
And even then, we still owe him money, I'm pretty sure. Correct?
No, the kickback goes back to Nashville.
Tell him to retire now.
Right.
Look, dude.
I am sure they've had the conversation.
But even if I don't know if I have this right, but
goes back to Nashville.
If we say, hey, if we drop him or whatever it is, we end up
if we cut him, contract,
then I think we are on the hook to make it whole.
Yeah.
But there's insurance and stuff that kicks in, but he comes off the books.
He could do what Brett Favre did. Retire, have it take care from the other team. It doesn't matter to the Flyers. Then he could sign somewhere else if he thinks he can.
I don't care. Flyers contract is still being traded around somewhere.
Still in Arizona, I think.
They're still playing games with that contract. No, to this point, and again, Ryan Ellis, the person, hope nothing but the best. Hope he's okay. Ryan Ellis, the player.
Get him out of him.
We've moved on.
What, you didn't boo him on Thursday night?
I did not.
What is with people?
Yeah, that
so
sucks.
I couldn't believe that.
I missed the intro. Was he actually there?
He was on the bench with Couturier, Atkinson, and
what a bunch of freaking boners our fan base is.
You just see his reaction, what the hell, man? It's not my fault.
And you wonder why everyone else hates us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That was pretty classless.
Yeah, that was that. I mean, I don't care that other fan bases don't like us, but that's just a low you don't need to.
Yeah, right. No, it's one thing to throw snowballs at Santa Claus. It's another to boo your own player. That's going through these types of things.
That has only played 4 games.
That was sarcasm, guys. Yeah, no, that was pretty low, even for Philly. But I don't know. This. Getting to the extension here, I'm baffled because if it hasn't been clear already, I feel like you're just an idiot. This is not a season in which we're expecting any modicum of success aside from maybe taking the next step forward in figuring out what we're going to do next,
right?
Or the first 2 games. We've seen success this year.
That part of that process, to me at least, and I feel like probably to a majority of you guys as well, is using the trade deadline to our advantage. Who is our most valuable trade chip? Who was our most valuable trade chip come this deadline?
Travis Sanheim.
Yep.
And
now it's Strong.
Sorry.
And now he's off the board.
Now it's Ryan Ellis's contract.
Yeah. Here. Future considerations. The move and the timing of it is just ridiculous. You could have done what you did with Ristolainen at least, and it would have made more sense. Wait when you get towards the deadline, and if you're like, this guy's a piece of our core moving forward, great, keep him. Okay, I can stomach that, but you made it decision at this point in time before any games were played. I disagree with it. That's a strong disagreement.
It's a failure to stick to a message. You can't say we're going to see what we have here throughout this season and then sign a guy to an 8-year contract before the season starts.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And Derek, to kind of go off of what you were saying, if Sanheim ended up playing to the point where it was like, okay, we need him as a part of our core. He is far more valuable to us as a player than a trade asset, and you give him that deal, fine. But it's just the timing of it. Like, you can't say all of these things and preach a certain message and then continue to do something that contradicts it. Like, that's my biggest problem with Chuck Fletcher is he's saying all of these things and then he makes these moves. And you're like, well, what?
So we're back to the aggressive retool? What?
Right.
Even in a world where it could work, and like Travis Sanheim would say something like, I'm not stepping foot on the ice until I get an extension. Like, okay, we already suck. We already don't have the options that we need.
Us.
We'll plug Zamula in. Don't care. You know, like that. And again, that's ridiculously far-fetched, but still, the timing of it is just incredibly perplexing.
Right. I mean, to me, it's like, okay, because your brain starts to wander, at least mine does, right? And it's like, I think in all of our heads, we were going, okay, best case scenario, they trade Travis Sanheim for a good haul. Cam York can slide into that spot. Boom, we're in a good spot. Now it's like, well, we've got Travis Sanheim. If Provorov continues to play the way he's playing, well, we don't want to trade him. Then my brain starts going, oh, okay, so what about Cam York then? Like, so what are we doing with Cam York? Does Cam York now turn into a trade chip? Like, because you've clogged, and I'm not saying that that's the move you make, but like you're clogging up your top four on, this is a rebuilding team. You're clogging up your top four in a rebuilding team where it's like, where's this guy even going to belong?
Well, I think with York, though, York is still on a rookie contract, isn't
Sure.
And so
it's up after
the
end of
this
the
is a
trip.
contract year for him.
Yeah.
And so, but what's he gonna get? What's he gonna get realistically?
Right.
Like, is it $1.5 million? Like,
Not even.
I don't know. It depends what he ends up doing this year.
If he makes the big team. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like, all right. So I actually have no problem with the York factor of it, because let's say he does, $1 million, $1.5 million for the next 2 years or something like that, which is probably the realistic like bridge contract. If that's our third pairing and he's going gangbuster, okay, that helps offset it. We're gonna have to face this 2 years down the road with him,
Right?
And there's no there's no avoiding that. But you never really know what's gonna happen. But I look at this where I'm with you, John. I don't understand why they did this now when they're like, we got to answer some questions. Like, I hope to hell that they talk to Tortorella, be like, hey, is like Sanheim like good enough? Like, is he this guy? Or
could you imagine if they didn't?
Yeah, like our fantasy of Chuck like whistling down the hall, like
his desk chair just went through the office window.
8 years for Sandy. It's like, what?
Everybody's got to earn their spot on this roster except for Travis.
Yep.
But I don't know. Now I just have him under a microscope, and I texted you guys during the Jersey game. I was like, no, I haven't seen do anything. Travis Sanheim, and I just don't know if he's worth that freaking much. Like, I don't know.
I mean,
maybe I'm wrong.
It's the going rate. Yeah, it's the going rate, though. I mean, you hate to say it, but it's the going rate for a competent second pairing defenseman in which you want to keep around. And okay, we kept him around now. What else are you going to say about it? Like, it's just, I think it's boneheaded when it comes to the timing of it.
And it hasn't affected the morale of the team, right? Like, to me, my biggest worry was like, okay, we've done this entire, like, you've got to earn your spot on this roster. You've got to earn your spot on this roster. And then before we even play a game, this guy's been signed to an 8-year deal.
2 hours before puck drop.
Right. Like,
right. Yeah. He's suiting up for warm-ups, inking the deal then.
So it doesn't seem like that's affected anything else, which, who knows if it really would have. It could just be the fan in me that's like, oh, crap. Like, what are you doing to this room?
Right.
It just, the timing just doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, my favorite thing is it's a Chuck Fletcher contract. There's a no trade clause. somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm. What is it? A modified
It's
12
4
team?
years no trade clause, and then the last 4 years is a 12-team modified no trade clause. It's like
at least it's a no trade clause when no one's going to trade for the contract.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just a Chuck.
Wouldn't it be a Chuck thing to be like, hey, it's a no trade clause, but it's an every other year no trade clause? Like something that makes zero
absolutely no sense.
Eagles touchdown.
He can only trade in Q4 of each season.
Oh boy. Like it's a modified no trade clause at all times except for 3 days before and after 3 days before the deadline.
Right.
If you're to flip this around though and go, okay, assuming they talked to Tortorella, right, and he was okay with this deal, and on a team that has so many question marks, if they're like, hey, this is our top 4 moving forward, we don't have to address this anymore, like that's kind of comforting in a really reaching kind of way.
Sure.
But it's like, okay, we don't have to worry about addressing that. That's what we've got. We're comfortable with it. We can address the other millions of holes on this roster.
Right.
But it's ultimately Fletcher's decision, though, as well. And I mean, whether he involved Tortorella or not, you would hope that he did. But like, I could see this being a Chuck Fletcher. I'm just going to do it because this is what I think is best for the team.
Sure.
And Tortorella's just kind of left to deal with it, which in the grand scheme of things, I think Tortorella's the kind of guy. It's like, okay, he can deal with things. He can just be like, okay, this is what I've been dealt. I'll figure it out. He doesn't seem like I don't know.
Tortorella walks in and goes, I'm not sure how happy the next general manager is going to be with that one, Chucky.
So did you ask Danny Briere about this?
I would pay to see Chuck Fletcher's reaction. Oh my goodness.
But I don't know. Like, honest question. Do you guys think that Sanheim is a top 4 and, ideally a second pairing defenseman on any team in the NHL right now? Or on most teams, I will say, because some teams are
right, like not the freak teams.
Right.
Yeah. I do.
I think. Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know the answer, but like, is that contract in lockstep with those kind of guys? Like, I think
they keep saying Mackenzie Weegar, right? They said that Weegar kind of set the blueprint for the Sanheim contract.
Yeah.
And what did he get?
I don't know.
Real quick.
I couldn't tell you.
But I think too, like, if you were to ask me that question before last year, Casey, I would say no.
Right.
And I think that
same contract.
It's the same contract.
Year $50 million.
Him being
any
the
trade
best
clauses?
defenseman.
I don't know. Hold on. Sorry.
Him being the best defenseman on an awful defense isn't the year that you're like, all right,
pay the man.
Come up.
Give the man his money.
Yeah, this is literally identical.
Are you kidding me?
Identical. 4-year no trade clause, 4-year modified no trade clause.
Chuck looked at the manual.
Oh my God.
Know what I'll do? I'm just gonna do a save as on that contract.
Weegar was part of the Huberdeau deal, right?
He's writing. He's like, Brad, what did you? What was it?
With Sanheim?
Okay, 4 years. Okay, all right. Could you repeat that part, Brad?
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
He's on the phone with Calgary's GM. Like, what'd you guys give Weegar?
Right.
Like, okay. Hangs up the phone. He's like, calling Travis again. Hey, buddy, I got a 8-year deal, 4 years.
You know what's funny?
God.
He probably didn't even call him. He probably just looked up Cap Friendly and was like, got it. Copy, paste.
Like, I see a lot of people telling me Mackenzie Weegar and Travis Sanheim are pretty similar. Let's see
Goes
what
on
he
his
got.
phone, copies it, and then puts it in a text message to Travis's agent. Screenshots it.
Yo,
when he gets rid of Weegar's name.
Like, can you send this over in a PDF form? Like,
I
no,
put this document together for you.
he Sharpies out the
white out
logo, like
he
Trump
whites it out.
doing the hurricane.
Oh my God. He whites it out and just tries to scribble a Flyers logo in there.
Hand-drawn Flyers logo.
Right. Like, Chuck, was this like your grandkid? Like,
we keep it raw here in Philly.
just draws a line through Mackenzie Weegar's name and writes Travis Sanheim on it.
Travis, that's how you know I care. I drew it myself.
And Travis goes, yeah, just add two more teams to the no trade cost. Good. Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh boy. All right. I feel
Looking
like we
ahead.
pretty much looking ahead. Big week. Big week ahead. Tampa Bay Tuesday. Wednesday we've got Florida. Saturday at Nashville. All away games. Sunday also. We're home against San Jose with Oscar Lindblom coming back.
Awesome. Thanks NHL scheduling, like 2 back-to-backs in week 2.
Yeah, traveling from
Absolutely.
Nashville back
It's the only way to do
to PA. Jesus. Awesome job, guys.
And it's at
Assholes.
8 o'clock start.
Killer
time
boots,
in Nashville.
man.
I don't care.
Eastern Standard Time.
I mean, do we even want to like go over like how we think we're gonna do, or should we just accept it and be like, okay, cool, let's see how it goes?
I'll say
I think
one
we need to
thing.
predict.
Well, so all I want is the Flyers team that played against fringe playoff teams to show the same level of competitiveness against teams that that most likely could stomp them.
Yeah.
Just show me the same level of play. I don't care if you win, but give me that same team.
Don't give me a 9-3 blowout like
Right.
we had against New York.
Right.
Like, show us some compete.
Right.
Yep.
If we're down 3-0 at the end of the first, like, just give me signs of like you're inching back
life.
into it, even if the final score's 5-2. Like,
Mhm.
I don't want to feel like, okay, I'm good to turn this game off because it's absolutely over. Like, if I can just have something that's keeping me interested in watching this game, like, oh, maybe we've got it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm satisfied.
Yeah, I can live with that.
Yeah. I mean, what we said earlier on, just take it game by game.
Yep.
Thanks, Coach.
You don't score till you score. I think it's going to be another one of those mental tests that we keep on hearing about with the back-to-backs. I mean, like the Tampa Bay to Sunrise, Florida plane ride's only an hour, but that's a late night, and you're going to have 2 really good teams that you got to get up for. Like, can you do it? Are you mentally strong enough to actually do it? I personally think that we usually play Florida pretty well. Tampa, for 8 years, we've had issues with Tampa. Even when they haven't been like the juggernaut that they've been in the last 4 years, like we've had issues with Tampa.
And they've struggled a little bit this season where they're licking their chops for the Flyers right now. They need this game to get them back on track.
Yeah.
Right. Struggling with player personnel, legal troubles, that kind of stuff.
Anyways,
but with Tampa and Florida, like if we can get a point out of those 2 games, like 1 point, I'm actually okay.
I'll take 2 points out of both. Screw it.
Okay.
I would love to see that.
Of course, I would
Hot
love
take
it,
right
but
there.
I'm considering a success if we have taken 5 out of 6 points in our first 3 games, or first 4 games, whatever you want to call it. Like, I'm okay with that.
Sure.
The Nashville one, I don't know what to think of Nashville. I think they're pretty good, but I'm not sure. San Jose is 0-4. They're gonna be playing. I looked at this. They're playing Jersey the night before, so they're actually gonna have a shorter commute than we are for the back-to-back. But they're in Jersey the night before. But they're 0-4. Like
games.
I know it's
Chuck Fletcher.
Oh my gosh.
Chuck's like, yeah, that sounds good. We'll just go from Nashville to Philly overnight and play a game the next day.
At least it's not a matinee. Like that would have been.
Hey. That's
But,
a fireable offense.
This is gonna be a test, and like I think Torts said it. It's like, all right, we got an early test. Can we come back from a 2-0 deficit? And they did. Can you guys show up and play competitive games, 2 back-to-backs in week 2, already with a lot of attrition on the forward lines?
Right. Don't look like a JV team. right? Look like you're at least supposed to be in the same league.
Yeah,
and even if you're going to get relegated at the end of the year.
I don't know if this leads us into some of the potential, player replacements here, but right now we have like a day-to-day of Tippett, Risto, Atkinson, and Coots. I don't think it's day-to-day; he's more week-to-week. But like, can we get one or two of those guys back by the weekend? I don't think they'll be back by the Florida trip, but by the weekend.
From what I've read, is Atkinson and Risto might be back for one or two of the games for the Florida games. Tippett might be back for one of the weekend games. That's just from what I've read.
We're a freaking juggernaut. We're a sleeping giant.
Yep. Just wait, baby.
Oh boy. Well, I'll tell you what I have been waiting for, Hoagie. That's your dad joke of the week.
Man, it's been such a good episode too.
I thought we were staying positive.
Right. Did you hear about the chameleon who couldn't change colors?
No.
He had a reptile dysfunction.
Touchdown Eagles. Touchdown Eagles.
Go Birds.
Hey, AJ Brown got me some fantasy points. All right. That's all I'm looking forward to this week. I know Dallas is going to lose. You can. All right. Yeah.
I don't want your life.
Yep. All right. That was a good one, Hoagie. Props for that.
Yes.
You've been saving that one.
Yeah.
Heard it today, actually. So.
All right. Well, good move. Good move on your part. We appreciate it. Who do you hang out with? All right. Continue, Hoagie. Let us know where they're going to be able to find you.
Pod Street Hose on that Twitter app thing.
Fall off a bridge.
John cringes every time you say that. I hope you know that.
I do
it. Casey.
Pod Street Casey on that Twitter app thing. Go play in traffic.
All right, John.
You can find this podcast on all your various podcast listening receptacles. If you're not happy with the one that you're listening to us on, then Google another one. Love you guys.
All right. You
and
can
girls.
find. Glad you added that one. Damn it. You find me on Twitter, Pod Street Bob. You can find John on Twitter, Pod Street Gove. You can find all four of us on Twitter at Pod ST Bullies. Go check out our affiliates as well. Flyers High and Wide. They're on Twitter at Flyers HW. 5 Minute Major Podcast. They're on Twitter at 5 Min Major Pod, as well as the Hockey Focus. You can find them on Twitter at the Hockey Focus as well. Check out all three of those. Check out all four of us, and check us out next week as we've got a whole new batch of games to go through and some more news to get through as well.
Check it out.
Check it out.